Morning, everyone. Welcome, all of you. Sarvesham swastir bhavantu, Sarvesham shanti bhavantu, Sarvesham purnam bhavantu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavantu. May all be blessed with prosperity, peace, perfection, and bliss. With this uh, note, I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Youth Red Cross Unit NITTE deemed to be university uh, for the inaugural and induction orientation program for all the volunteers. Before we start the program, let's embrace the fond thoughts of our founder of NITTE, Justice K.S. Hegde sir, and would like to extend heartfelt thanks to the Chancellor Vinay Hegde sir, Pro-Chancellor Professor Dr. Shantaram Shetty, Vishal Hegde sir, and our Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Satish Kumar Bandari, and all the heads of the constituent institutes of NITTE. To begin with, the motto of Red Cross Society, with its inception from 1920 March, March 20th, is a voluntary humanitarian organization to protect human life and health based in India. It actively involves the youth and junior volunteering programs and closely associated with the St. John's Ambulance in India. Being a part of International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, it shares the fundamental principles of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. The society's mission, the very mission, is to provide relief in times of disasters, emergencies, to promote health and care of the vulnerable people and communities, has a network of over 700 branches throughout India, and the society uses the Red Cross as an emblem in common and with other international Red Cross societies. Our Indian Red Cross Society has more than 35 state and union territories branches with their more than 700 districts and sub-district branches. The President of India is the President of this Indian Red Cross Society, and the Minister of Health and Family Welfare would be the chairman of this society. Now, the Indian Red Cross Society, Dakshina Kannada district, is headed by the chairmanship of Mr. Shantaram Shetty sir, and then Vice Chairman Dr. VLS Kumar, and also Satish Kumar Bandari sir is part of this Indian Red Cross Society Dakshina Kannada unit. Before we start the session with this prelude of introduction, I would like to call upon Sister Amita for invoking a prayer. Thank you.
ಹಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಹಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ದೇವಾ ವೈಭವ ಹೊಗಳುವೆ ದೇವಾ ನಿನ್ನಯ ನಾಮವು ಶುಭಕರವಾಗಲಿ ಜಗದಲೆಡೆಗೂ ಹರಡಲಿ ಎಂದು ಹರಡಲಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪ್ರೇಮದ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಯು ಬೀರಲಿ ಜಗದಲೆಡೆಗೂ ಹರಡಲಿ ಎಂದು ಹರಡಲಿ ಹಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಹಾಡುತ್ತಾ ಭಜಿಸುವೆ ದೇವಾ ನಿನ್ನಯ ವೈಭವ ಹೊಗಳುವೆ ದೇವಾ.
Thank you, Sister Amita, for this invitation. I would now call upon Lata, who is the Chief Coordinator for the Youth Red Cross Unit knitted into the university, to give a welcome speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Warm good morning to everyone here today. Respected dignitaries of the day.
Hello. Hello. Lata, you ask everybody to mute their mics. Ask them to mute their mics. ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವಳದಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳು ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ
ಹಲೋ, ಪುನಃ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಉಂಟಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ಝೂಮ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ. ಹಾಂ, ಇದು ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಾಗ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೇಡಿ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಾಗ ಇದಾಯ್ತು ನೋಡಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಕೇಳ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಿಗಂತ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದಾಯ್ತಪ್ಪ, ರೀ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು.
ಚಂದ್ರಮಣ,
ಇದೆ ಕೇಳೋದು
ಲೆವೆಲ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಹೌದು. ನಾವು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಆಪಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿ.
ಓಕೆ 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 ಫೈನ್ 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 ಫೈನ್
ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಫೈನ್. ನಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಬಟ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ?
ಅವರದ್ದು ಇಶ್ಯೂ, ನಮ್ಮದು ಆನ್ ಉಂಟು ನೋಡಿ.
ಬಿಡಿ. ವಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್.
ರೆಡ್ ಕಲರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ,
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು
ಲತಾ,
ವಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಲತಾ
ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳುದು.
Dignitaries of the day, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Niti DMTB University, Chief Guest C.A. Shantaram Shetty, the Chairman of Indian Red Cross DK District Zone, Guest of Honor and Resource Person, Dr. VLS Kumar, Vice Chairman, Indian Red Cross Society, Karnataka State Branch, guest, faculty members, and my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries on behalf of the Youth Red Cross Unit for this orientation and induction program. We at Nitya University are blessed to be guided by a great philanthropist, a dynamic and inspiring leader whose focus is on constant all-round development of faculty and students. It's none other than our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari. I take this opportunity to extend a cordial welcome to Sir on behalf of Youth Red Cross Unit. A very vibrant leader, C.A. Shantaram Shetty, the Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, DK District Zone, and today's Chief Guest, has been a constant source of support to all our endeavors. Sir, with great pleasure, I express a warm note of welcome to you. We have a Mr. an enthusiastic leader, and a national level disaster trainer for disaster management from Indian Red Cross Society, Dr. Kumar VLS, Vice Chairman IRCS Karnataka State Branch, who is resource person for this induction program. A hearty welcome to you, sir, from all the students and faculty of NITI University YRC unit. Today's event is an induction program for all the volunteers. You have chosen to be a part of this association due to a mutual passion for its goals. Your passion helps us all to unite, and the energy we create is what will allow us to make us an impact. I offer a bouquet of welcome to all my dear student volunteers of NITE Deemed University YRC unit. I take pride in welcoming all the faculty members and guests of NITE Deemed to be University. Wish you all a very good luck and for the fruitful session ahead. Warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for your patient listening. May I now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, to deliver the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Namaskara.
It's my privilege to be part of this very auspicious occasion of orientation and induction program of Youth Red Cross Society. Chief guest for the day, my good friend and respected Mr. C.A. Shantaram Shetty, Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, Dr. Kumar, the Vice Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, and is also the keynote speaker for this very important occasion. And the moderator for this function, Dr. Krishna Prasad, Assistant Professor, KSED Medical Academy, Lata, Mrs. Lata, the coordinator of Indian Red Cross Society, and all the volunteers and staff of Youth Red Cross Society of NITE. Today, as you know, it's a very important day in the calendar of events of Youth Red Cross. As you know, induction program is very important, and added to that, you have got orientation program also has been planned by the Youth Red Cross. My dear students, it's to be a real great day, and this for all of you, it's a proud moment because you are getting inducted to Youth Red Cross of NITE. As you know, here you should always aware of the history. Particularly the history of Red Cross is very, very interesting because it is inspiring rather. It was started in the year 1863 by Henry Durant, an ordinary businessman. He was a banker, and he started this movement in 1863 with this few of his colleagues. And later, I was told around 16 countries on Europe joined this movement. And the first Geneva Declaration, I think, which took a lot of initiatives, particularly addressing the problems of war victims, has started from him. And even he was, I think many of us may not be aware that he was awarded the first Peace Nobel Prize, a great achievement for an ordinary person. And it's really inspiring to all of us what Henry Durant has done. And the seed which has sown in 1863 has grown into a big tree now. Now it is, the movement has spread to 188 countries, and now there are more than millions of volunteers, members, and staff are working in the Red Cross movement. And we should, I think what we should do, I think what we can do as the Red Cross of NITE, that's very important. We are interested in NITE Red Cross now, Youth Red Cross, particularly in this particular day of induction program. And we should be guided by 7 fundamental principles of Red Cross. I think Dr. VLS Kumar is going to talk about that. That what Red Cross teaches is humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, voluntary service, and unity and universality. And all these aspects are very, very important in our life. I think all the youth, the members of this Youth Red Cross of NITE should follow these fundamental principles. And added to that, definitely we can involve, because as the health industry, So far, we are mainly healthcare university. Out of 8 in constant colleges, 6 are from healthcare. I think a lot of voluntary service can be done by this university as the Youth Red Cross under the umbrella of our district Red Cross under the leadership of Mr. Shantaram Shetty. I think we can do a lot of let us collaborate, because what is important? Collaboration. Collaboration is a very important quality of human being, and we should collaborate and innovate. All your innovative ideas. I think there is no restriction for ideas. I request all the volunteers and the members of Youth Red Cross.
9:30 volunteer
and volunteer yourself. And what we can do, I think we have done activities through the Youth Red Cross. And like particularly blood donation programs and training the people, particularly in first aid training is being given, and there are a lot of activity like CPR training programs, first aid training programs, and disaster management training programs. All this and first-hand support, what you call the training the people to managing the emergency conditions. These activities are being undertaken by the university. I think this can be carried out with more zeal and enthusiasm. I request all my Youth Red Cross members, volunteers, not only get inducted, spread the message of Youth Red Cross among your colleagues and get involved in the activities of Red Cross. I hope the Youth Red Cross of NITTA University, one of the role model units of the Central Red Cross, parent Red Cross unit, and I hope we'll give all the support for the Red Cross activities. I think under the leadership of Shantaram Shetty, the Red Cross Dakshina Kannada is doing a lot of good activities. I'm really proud of that, particularly during this pandemic situation, because of the lot of problems we had. In every sphere we had problem. All the sections of the people are affected by COVID pandemic. Youth Red Cross of Mangalore, Dakshina Kannada has done wonderful work. Along with the Red Cross of Mangalore, I request Youth Red Cross of NITTE to join hands and support all the activities of the parent Red Cross of Dakshina Kannada, so that all of us will work for humanity. That's very important. The mission of the university is to create quality and also provide humanitarian services, social activities. We are running 21 rural health centers spread out in 3 districts and serving more than 2 lakh patients. And we are giving health care and education, good education to the people in and around, and also from other states. All these activities, I think the support from the Red Cross is also very important in our humanitarian activities of the university. I wish all the best for all the activities of the Youth Red Cross. And this program conducted by the Youth Red Cross will be very successful and will carry pleasant memories of this program conducted virtually. For as you all know, because of the COVID situation, we could not have organized this in a physical format. When the conditions improve, definitely we'll conduct more programs definitely in the physical form. And I will invite Dr. Kumar to be the resource person for that program also. And I hope all of you will enjoy this program. Wish you all the best. I thank Kumar and Mr. Shantaram Shetty for participating in this inaugural function. Thank you very much. I thank all my colleagues from the Youth Red Cross, all the office bearers, program officers of Youth Red Cross for arranging this program. Wish you all the best. May God bless.
Thank you very much, sir, for such an inspiring and motivating speech. I'm sure all our volunteers must be really motivated towards the humanitarian services. Saying that, I would like to welcome today, call upon Mr. C.S. Shantaram Shetty to give a guest. He's the chief guest of today. I would like to ask him to say a few words. Before that, I would like to say a few things about him. He's a practicing chartered accountant since 2004, and he's been chairman of this Indian Red Cross Society Dakshina Kannada district since 2015, and has received many honors and awards. To name a few, he has received a special award from Governor of Karnataka in 2016-17, and under his able leadership, the Dakshina Kannada district unit has received the second best Red Cross district branch award from the Governor of Karnataka in the year 2017 and 18. And this district is also being selected as the best performing branch in state in 2018 and 19. He also holds many elite positions in Rotary Club. Sir, it's an honor to have you as our chief guest. I would like to request you to say a few words to our volunteers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello? You can hear me?
You can hear. You can hear.
Yeah. Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, Vice Chancellor at University, and also our Managing Committee member and Health Committee Chairman, and my friend, and Mr. VLS Kumar, Dr. VLS Kumar, Vice Chairman of the State Branch Red Cross, and Dr. Krishna Prasad, he's a professor in Kshema, and all Lata Madam, Program Officer of Red Cross, and all the office bearers of Nitya University, and all the Red Cross Youth Red Cross students eagerly want to join the Red Cross. I think they're all in either YouTube or Zoom. So thank you one and all. I think this is one of the most required Red Cross unit, because we are all Red Cross units presently in Mangalore University. I think around 208 colleges in the 3 revenue districts of Udupi, Dakshina Kannada and Coorg. Out of 208, around 180 already affiliated under Youth Red Cross. I think this is the healthcare university, deemed university. I think we hope this is one of the best and very badly needed, because healthcare university and the Mangalore University parallelly we have to do a lot of programs once the Youth Red Cross is inaugurated. I think our Satish Bhandari has taken a lot of initiative in last 1.5 to 2 years also. Presently also he's doing a lot of Youth Red Cross activities, motivating. Today I am very I think I'm very happy that our VLS Kumar, everybody know, he is one of the national trainer. He's I think last year flood relief, he has come and do a lot. He came and did a lot of activity in our coastal this thing. I think definitely this orientation program, the student will get benefited. They will, I think the transformation will definitely take place in the line of humanitarian service. So we come to our Dakshina Kannada Youth Red Cross. I think why Youth Red Cross required? I think already NCC is there, NSS is there, I think Range Rover, so many units. But why the difference between the Youth Red Cross and other units? I think Youth Red Cross, I think one of the best. I think I'm not appreciating because I'm a chairman. So definitely because we are doing a humanitarian service, irrespective of the caste, creed, community. I think already our Satish Bhandari has explained what is our motto. I think this motto we are working. I think 100% this humanitarian service is very, very needed. I think young volunteers can make the significant contribution to the catering the humanitarian service to the vulnerable and weaker section of the society. That will definitely helpful to the larger interest of the weaker section of the society. I think this year, after epidemic, this COVID-19 breakout started, we have worked a lot of things. I think VLS Kumar worked in across the state. In our district also, we have did a lot of work. I will give you 1 or 2 examples, because we have a control and command center at Mangalore Corporation. In that center, our Youth Red Cross volunteers and other volunteers worked in day and night for the this thing. They're helping the people who have problematic in COVID-19 or transportation. These are all the things. But recently, I will give you one best example. In Wenlock Hospital, there is a urology department. Almost all the staff they have left because very difficult to work there, because old age people in their home, so many things. But our Youth Red Cross volunteers from the all over all the colleges, they have working in today they are working in the Wenlock Urology department. That is the most significant work what Red Cross, Youth Red Cross is doing in Mangalore. So this is the 1 or 2 things I'm telling. So many things. So I request Mangalore University and our deemed university, Nitya University, will do one joint program. We will in further from Indian Red Cross Society, Dakshina Kannada branch is really supporting in Tanu Mana Dana. So we will ready to support anything because our Red Cross branch is already taken a sustained growth. Now I think we have a lot of other activities, revenue started other than the blood donation. So with regard to blood bank, I'm telling one or two words because the student should know, because this present last 4 months, I think all over the state, they have depended the Dakshina Kannada Red Cross blood bank. So I will give you one or two example. Day before yesterday, we have given, I think VLS Kumar, no, we have given a blood units to state branch, and 2 or 3 other branches, other private blood bank also, they have depended me, and all Mangalore, almost all hospital depended me, even rare group or maybe plasma or anything. I think we are, our volunteers, even though the problem in COVID-19, they came and donated the blood. I will give one example. We need actually O positive, some O positive rare group. That time nobody is there. Then I approached 2-3 groups. Then one person immediately, that ABVP person, one student, he has immediately agreed at around 8 o'clock Sunday. He ready to donate, and he donated the blood. So such a wonderful organization, and we are very happy that we are working under the one of the best humanitarian service unit. So my sincere request to our NITTE University. So we will do lot of programs so that suppose you can celebrate a special days like World Red Cross Day, World Health Day, World Water Day, or you can do International Youth Day, International Women's Day. So you can initiate at least school cleaning, you can initiate village cleaning, so many things we can do so that the transformation will be take place. I think first aid training and the disaster training, that is most required, we will do for the students. We have got sanctioned by the state national orientation program. Because of COVID, it is not possible to conduct immediately, but we will do that. So in that national orientation program, we can include all the NITTE University Youth Red Cross student, they are going to join today. So this is the things we are happening every day. So because of the Zoom meeting, I cannot do, I have not done any preparation also, because it is, I am very happy that this Youth Red Cross unit is today inaugurating, and our VLS Kumar will definitely giving a very good input, and you can take the benefit. This thing in future days, our NITTE University Youth Red Cross will be one of the best wing in the next year, I believe. So thank you very much for giving an opportunity and to call me as a guest in the virtual meeting. So once again, I wish all the best to the Lata Madam also. She has coordinated so many times with me. So this is the one of the best Youth Red Cross, it will emerge. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you one and all. Thank you all the students for their future endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shataram Shetty, sir. The Youth Red Cross unit of NITTE deemed to be university had conducted a poster competition for all the students of constituent colleges on substance abuse on June 22nd, 2020. When the results will be announced by Lata ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Mute.
Lata, keludilla. Lata, we can't hear.
You make it mute, unmute.
The first prize, the e-poster competition, was conducted in the month of June. The first prize was backed by Ms. Pranita Jain from Pharmacy, NITTE Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. This is the poster the student has done along with the write-up. And the second prize, Mr. Rohit Jain from NITTE Institute of Nuksar. That is the second poster. This is the second prize poster. So I take this opportunity to congratulate the winners, and prizes will be distributed when the students will be back to the campus. And I also express my congratulations to all the other participants for the competition.
Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations to the winners. The next is the most important session of this program today. That is the orientation and the introduction towards the Indian Red Cross by Dr. Kumar VLS. To say a few words about him, he's presently serving as international level master trainer on disaster management and emergency response of Red Cross. Also, he's a part of National and South Asia Regional Disaster Response Team, and is presently also holding a position of Vice Chairman, Indian Red Cross Society, Karnataka State Branch. He's been a resource person for Government of Karnataka Administrative Training Institute, ATI, Mysore. He has many accolades and awards in his bag. To name a few, he's been honored with international level Humanitarian Champion Award for the year 2018 by International Red Cross. Also been awarded with Dr. Ratan Memorial Award in 2001. And that's a great achievement, sir. We are very honored to have you here. Over to you, sir, and to the volunteers, kindly be attentive for this session. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah.
It's clear, very clear.
Very clear.
Yeah. Yes. Good morning, everyone, and respected Vice Chancellor of the NITE University, Professor Satish Kumar Bandari, sir, the Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, DK District Branch, Shri Shantaram Shetty, Lata Madam, and all the students who are participating in this program. And it's my proud pleasure to be the part of this activity, Youth Red Cross orientation and inauguration of the Youth Red Cross unit at the NITE University. As you know, the Red Cross is the largest humanitarian organization in the world, and we are proud to say that a lot of humanitarian activity that is being conducted by the Red Cross across the world. And I'm also thankful to the NITE University for taking this initiative, even though there is a COVID-19 and lockdown. The college is not working. The virtual meet is hosted and virtual inaugural program and orientation is hosted. So thanks to Lata Madam and thanks to Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bandari, sir, and thanks to the Shantaram Shetty, sir, also. So first I would like to basically brief you about the Red Cross. Probably after that, we'll be going into the various activities of the Red Cross. First of all, I should acknowledge the great efforts done by the DK District Branch during the COVID time and during the flood time. The Mangalore District Branch or the DK District Branch has been doing excellent work in the Red Cross of Karnataka State Branch. Congratulations to Shantaram Shetty, sir, and his team members. And thanks to the NITE University and congratulations to the NITE University. And NITE University has been doing a lot of academic related activities, social activities, and extracurricular activity. And congratulations to the Vice Chancellor, sir, and all the team, the faculty members also. So to start with, basically, we'll be briefing about the Red Cross. Can we start the presentation from there, madam? Lata madam? The presentation from there. I'll try to present from here. Okay, can you start the presentation from there, madam? The presentation which I have shared. I think it is not taking from here because the admin has to accept the presentation from the participant.
Yeah. Lata madam.
Yeah.
Full screen ಮಾಡಿ full screen ಹಾಕಿ
full screen ಹಾಕಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. I think she is little problem is ನಿತ್ಯಾಣ್ಣ ರೆಡ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಜೂಮ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಮುಗಿತದೆ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಬಂದೆ. Madam.
Madam, presentation open ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Yeah.
ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Sure, sir.
Presentation.
Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Okay. Yeah, it's coming. Yes.
Yeah. So the objective of this session is to orient not only regarding the disaster management, it is to orient regarding the various activities of the Red Cross, as well as basically we will be learning about what are the various concepts involved in the process of Red Cross, and what is the role of a youth Red Cross volunteer, as it was rightly suggested by the Professor Bandari sir, Satish Kumar Bandari sir, when he was presenting the humanitarian activity that can be conducted by the youth Red Cross unit. So we will be learning also what are the various activities that can be planned and implemented at the college level. So as you know, Red Cross is the largest international humanitarian organization providing assistance to the needy, not only at the time of war, at the time of peace also. Presently, we are facing a biggest challenge now, or we can say probably a third world war we are facing now, that is COVID-19. So as you know, the COVID-19 is a global pandemic, and almost all the countries are being affected with the global pandemic. So the Red Cross is doing a lot of activities across the world related to COVID-19. I'll be briefing about that later. So let me introduce you regarding the basic structure of the Red Cross and how it works. In India, Indian Red Cross Society is started in the year 1920. So we are celebrating centenary year of the Red Cross, Indian Red Cross Society. It's a national federation of, can we go back to the earlier slide? It's a national federation of the branches, more than 700 branches across the country. The main aim of the Red Cross is to inspire, initiate, and to do all forms of humanitarian activities so that the human suffering is minimized, elevated, or even prevented also. So presently, as you know, the greatest humanitarian challenge which we are facing now since almost probably 6 months is the COVID-19. So our aim is to inspire, encourage, and initiate all forms of humanitarian activities so that the suffering is minimized. Please go to the next slide, sir. Next slide. Yeah. So it was established by the Constitution Act of the Parliament. There are various organizations which is working, probably serving in the social sector or social development sector, like Rotary, Lions, and many other international organizations are there. So what is so special about the Red Cross is it is formed under the Constitution Act of the Parliament in the year 1920 by the British regime. So after the completion of the First World War, the British regime felt there is a need for a Red Cross in India to serve the injured soldier. The primary objective or the aim of the Red Cross during the World War era was to serve or to help the injured soldiers. So IRCS was established in the year 1920 under the Constitution Act, and it is recognized by the International Red Cross in 1929. So we have an organization structure. The national level, the President of India is the President of Red Cross. At the state level, His Excellency the Governor is President. At the district level, the Deputy Commissioners are the President at the various districts. And we will be having a managing committee, and managing committee will be headed by an elected person called as a chairman. And even in Youth Red Cross unit, you have to have a committee comprising members from the students as well as the teaching faculty, and the head of the institution will be the chairman for the Youth Red Cross unit at your college. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. Whenever we work in the Red Cross, we need to follow the 7 fundamental principles. Dr. Satish Kumar sir was telling about the fundamental principle. These are the 7 fundamental principles which we need to practice when we do any service activity. So we should not be making any discrimination based on the caste, creed, religion, or nationality, and services are provided or based on fundamental. So the first fundamental principle is humanity. The humanitarian criteria should be the only criteria when we provide a service to the needy. So there are many situations in the past or during conflict where there may be other criteria also for selection of the beneficiary based on this caste, creed, or religion. But for us, for the Red Cross, whenever Red Cross is providing a service, probably the only criteria that should be implemented is humanitarian criteria. The second one, please stay on the earlier slide only. Please stay on the earlier slide. Come back to the earlier slide, sir. Earlier slide. Shantaram Shetty sir, mic mute ಮಾಡಿ sir. Okay, go back to the earlier slides, please. So we were discussing about the 7 fundamental principle, and in that the basically humanity is the first one, and second one impartiality. Whenever we provide a service, we will be impartial, and the third one neutrality. We will not take sides in case of a conflict. If there is a war between the 2 nations, we will not be taking any sides. We will be supporting, we will be providing with the humanitarian assistance to the soldiers of the both the nations. So our criteria is humanitarian criteria first. Next will be the independence. So it is the Red Cross, as you know, it is independent organization. It is an autonomous organization. It is governed by the fundamental principles of Red Cross and international humanitarian law. So whenever there is an emergency or a crisis or a war, the first thing which we are supposed to follow is the basic first thing which we are supposed to do is follow the international humanitarian law, the fundamental principles, and the code of conduct. There is something called international code of conduct, which we, the volunteers and the workers, we need to follow. Then voluntary service. So most of you are doing voluntary service during this COVID time. Voluntary service means participating in an activity without expecting either a publicity or without expecting any kind of benefits. So I request you to all be voluntarily participate in a service activity without expectation of anything. Unity, and as you know, there are various Red Cross, International Red Cross is there, IFRC is there, ICRC is there. So there is a unity among the various Red Cross society, and it's a universal organization. As I mentioned already, the presence of the Red Cross is there in more than 190 countries across the world. Next slide. So these are the 7 fundamental principles which we need to remember when we provide a service. Please do remember humanity, impartiality, and neutrality. We need to be neutral. Let me take you one example which can guide you. Please stay on this slide for a moment, sir. Let me take one example. I was deployed for the Assam flood relief operation in 2016 and 17 also. Every year, as you know, the Assam, the Brahmaputra river will be overflowing and flooding. During that time, you know, what happened was we were working in a district called Barpeta and Jorat. Jorat, as you know, it's the largest Majoli island. You might have heard about it's the largest river island in the world, which is there in the Assam. So these 3 districts is having a problem with the illegal immigrants from the Bangladeshi side. So we were working in this part with our team, providing the relief assistance to the flood affected area. So I'm just taking this example to sensitize you regarding the fundamental principle. At the time, the deputy commissioner of that particular district asked us to provide relief material only to some areas where original Indians are there, or what I can say, the Indian nationals are there. So when we asked who are those other people who are there, the deputy commissioner sir said like they are the people who are the illegal migrants. So don't provide your relief material to them. So, but our criteria, the fundamental principle clearly says that the basic criteria that we need to follow is humanity, impartiality, and neutrality. But the deputy commissioner, officer, is saying that don't provide relief material to them. So I asked the deputy commissioner, sir, how they are arranging. So the reply came that we don't know. Let them manage on their own. So we did not follow his orders. What we did is we visited all the areas which were affected by the floods, and we did the assessment, and based on the assessment, whoever is needy, the people who required help, food, water, non-food item or relief material or medicine, we provided them. We didn't ask which country they belong. We didn't ask whether they are illegal immigrants. It's the law and order which has to take over regarding the issue of illegal immigrants. But for the Red Cross, humanitarian principle comes first. So this I was just quoting an example why we need to follow the humanitarian principle is we are all human being first. Next comes is probably we are born in a particular country, being a citizens of a particular country. I do agree that we have obligations as citizens of the country, but for the Red Cross, there is no borders. Whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a war, whenever there is a natural calamity, we have to help everyone, whoever is affected, whoever is injured, whoever is in need of a help, whoever is in need of food and water. So that should be the fundamental principle. So remembering seven fundamental principles is very simple with that example which I quoted from my Assam experience during the deployment. So what are the main activities of Red Cross? The activities of Red Cross can be classified into peacetime activity and the wartime activity. The peacetime activity is disaster preparedness. Basically, we train our volunteers on disaster preparedness. In Mangalore, every year we are doing that. The DK district branch is hosting a state level Youth Red Cross training program, probably 7 days training program, and it was held at near to Mangalore. As you know, there is one place where Pilikula is a place where the water park is there, where the training can be provided regarding the water safety or regarding water rescue or other aspect as well. So every year the DK district branch is hosting this activity there at Mangalore. Please do be the part of that training. This is a wonderful training, the 7 days regarding the rescue, relief and other aspects. So disaster preparedness is Can you able to hear me now? Yeah. So first aid is one of the important activity of a Red Cross, and please do, I request every one of you to learn the first aid. First aid is very essential. We need to learn, and not only learning, we need to probably perform the first aid in case of emergency. Disaster response, what are the various components of disaster response we'll be learning today, and healthcare. As we know, these are the 4 core activities of the Red Cross: disaster preparedness, response, first aid and healthcare. When it comes to healthcare, presently we are facing the, what I can say, the biggest or the largest challenge probably the humankind have ever faced in the past, that is the COVID-19. So every day the death has been reported, more than 1,000 deaths in our country. Every day more than 60 to 70,000 people are being tested positive for the COVID. So it is our role, it is our duty of a Youth Red Cross volunteer to sensitize the community and the public regarding what are the various prevention methods, what measures to be taken, and probably you also can, Youth Red Cross volunteers also can play a role in the COVID, in the prevention of the COVID. You can support with the district administration, you can support with the district Red Cross branch also for in involving in various activities. Let's go to the next slide, sir. I will be just showing you the recent incidents of disaster in India with the need of humanitarian assistance. And after that, I will be briefing you about the capabilities what the Red Cross is having in India to face such disasters. Go to the next slide, sir. As you remember, the Uttarakhand floods, probably on the landslide 2013, where the official statistics says more than 13,000 people were killed and more than 10 lakh people were severely affected. So every year we are facing the climate change impact in the community. We are seeing the changes in the rainfall pattern. We are seeing cloud burst. We are seeing extreme weather. We are seeing the cyclone now. Earlier, the West Coast, particularly the Arabian Ocean, was considered to be the safer one. But now, this year, we have seen a cyclone hitting to the Mumbai coast. Luckily, it didn't do much of the damage, but cyclones is becoming a common phenomena even in the Arabian Ocean. The cyclone is a common phenomena in the Indian Ocean, but we need to be prepared for all these such disasters. These are few examples of the disasters in the past, the landslide, floods. Go to the next slide, sir. During the landslides and floods in Uttarakhand, I was heading the team, and our Red Cross team was doing a lot of activities. I was working there in the Uttarakhand flood relief operation for more than a month. It was what I can say one of the most challenging experiences which we had in the past. Kashmir floods. Go to the next slide, sir. So there are the flooding situation every year. Even in the last year, we have seen floods in Karnataka where more than 18 districts were affected. So there is new concept now, that is the urban flooding. So we have seen flooding in Mangalore. It was surprising that why and how the Mangalore flooded probably 2 years before. It was raining continuously for a day, and water was unable to probably drain from the most of the draining channels, or whatever we can say. The drainages was blocked, or maybe due to the many reasons. The urban flooding is a quite common phenomenon now. Most of our cities are not prepared for urban flooding, but Mangalore have got a well planned infrastructure for urban flooding, to management of the urban flooding as well. So we need to learn the lessons from the urban flooding, because nowadays it is becoming a very common phenomenon. If it rains continuously for more than a day in Bangalore, more than 60% of the Bangalore will be under 3 feet of water. So it will affect the whole, probably the urban infrastructure, the lifestyle there, the life there, and definitely it will cause death and impact to the many people. The Chennai flood, as you remember, way back in 2015, the Chennai flood was almost for 10 days. The Chennai is also is a coastal city, and Chennai was why I'm referring here in Mangalore is also a coastal city. And what lessons we need to learn from the Chennai flood is the coastal cities need to be prepared for urban flooding. We need to have infrastructure, we need to have a trained manpower, we need to know that how to rescue a person and what all the needs of the population at such a time. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Assam, as I mentioned, 2015-16, every year we can see, even this year also it is flooding. Next, let's go to the next slide, sir. So all these things, why I'm referring here and why I'm sensitizing more on the disaster is, as you know, the COVID-19 presently, the Disaster Management Act is in force. The National Disaster Management Act is in force now. The deputy commissioners or the incident commanders are in every district. That is the reason why I'm explaining you here the disaster and the capabilities of the Red Cross in disaster, and what is our role as a volunteers in Red Cross for providing services at the time of disaster. Probably in the last slide, I will be sensitizing you regarding what all the activity that can be planned at your college level, at the university level, probably how we can plan and implement various activities. So disaster, as you know, by definition itself, it's an occurrence or a hazard arising with little or no warning, which can cause serious disruption in the community and which can kill many people, which can cause serious damage to the infrastructure as well. So recent disaster which we can remember is the COVID-19. Before COVID-19, last year we had floods in Karnataka. So disaster is a situation where it requires probably the help from outside also. Let's go to the next slide, sir. So how much we are prone to the disaster? We need to know that how much we are prone to the natural disaster, but the COVID is a kind of a disaster which none of us was prepared for. That's why initially lockdown was announced. The lockdown may not be requiring at that time. Some people are saying with a different version, but still it is a new concept or probably a new kind of a disaster which we are facing today. And so many experiments have been done to manage it, but successfully the India could able to manage. But at the same time, the presently we can see the community spread. In Karnataka alone, more than 8,000 cases are reported in a day. In Mangalore alone, more than 200 cases are reported in a day. So we need to be more cautious. So how much we are prone to the disaster? Let's go to the next slide, sir. If you can see the hazard map of India, you can see the rivers here, you can see the yellow area, the drought prone areas. You can see the earthquake prone areas also, which is mentioned in this map. We'll go to the next cyclone prone area, the coastal. The Indian Ocean is cyclone prone area. The Arabian Ocean is considered to be more safer, but nowadays we are seeing the cyclone in Arabian Ocean also. Next slide, sir. So if you look into the map, probably this is an earlier map, 2009, 2019, there is one more map which the IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department, and NDMA is coming up. So these are the major disasters which the country has seen in the past. If you remember the tsunami 2004, in the Indian Ocean tsunami, it didn't had a much of impact in the coastal part of the Karnataka, but still tsunami was one of the, what I can say, one of the lesson which we need to learn. And there was a training conducted at Karwar naval base. Karwar, as you know, there is a naval base in Karwar, the largest naval base in Asia, which we have in the coastal district of Karwar in the western coast. So we had a HADR exercise there, and I was also part of that HADR exercise. HADR means Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Exercise. It was a national level exercise, joint exercise by Army, Navy, and Air Force. It was done at Karwar. And I was surprised at that time why it is done at the naval base Karwar. Why they selected the west coast particularly and the Karwar. The army officers and scientists from the army during that presentation informed that even the west coast is prone for tsunami, not only the east coast. Means the Arabian Ocean also is prone for tsunami. That's what the army, the government of India, and the IMD is saying. There is something called Macron subduction zone near in between Pakistan and Gujarat, where the tremors have been felt underwater in the last 10 years, more than 100 times. And that's what they say is like we don't have a tsunami warning system in the Arabian Ocean. We have it in the Indian Ocean, so we need to be prepared for that. Yeah. So the reason why I'm telling, there may be situations where the volunteers, the trained volunteers are the asset for the district administration in such emergencies. Let's go to the next slide, sir. So our country, please do remember, Mangalore comes under the zone 3. The probability of earthquake happening in this the coastal part of the Karnataka comes under the zone 2 and zone 3, means there may be tremors up to 6 in the Richter scale, 6.8 in the Richter scale can be felt in this coastal district. So zoning has been done across the country. So in our country, more than 60% of the landmass is prone to the earthquake. So we need to know the do's and don'ts regarding earthquake, how we have to protect ourselves, how we need to protect the others in case of such earthquake. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Okay, so this is a map where you can see the zoning has been mentioned here. The zone 5 means very high risk. The zone 3 is moderate risk. So you can see the Mangalore city, the coastal neighboring Udupi and Karwar coming under zone 3. The moderate risk of earthquake up to magnitude of 6.9 can happen in this area. As you know, the Mangalore is having largest number of industries also. Since it's a coastal city, it is having oil refineries, oil storage probably units are there. And so we need to be more prepared for such disaster. As you know, there was an air crash way back in 2010, 2009 or 2010. So that such kind of disaster also we need to be prepared. Next slide, sir. Yeah, 12% of area is prone to the floods in our country. So flooding is becoming a very common disaster which the country is facing now because of the climate change. As you know, being science students, I'm sure that most of you are aware about the climate change. The impacts of the climate change can be felt now. We are seeing more number of cyclone, the flooding and the rainfall pattern is changing every year. So it is very important to remember that we need to be prepared for such things. Next slide, sir. Let's go to the next slide, sir. And the drought is again one of the disaster the country can face, because most of the 70% of cultivable land in our country is prone to the drought. So we need to be more prepared for such activities. Next slide, sir. I'm focusing more of my presentation attention on the disaster capabilities and disaster related activities, because you being a Youth Red Cross volunteers, you need to have a knowledge about this basically. And this is a virtual training. When it comes to actual training, definitely we'll train you regarding the various skills also. Skill means to say the first aid skill, rescue skills, or probably what kind of humanitarian assistance can be provided to the community in case of such emergencies. 8% of area is prone to the cyclone in our country. Next slide, sir. So disaster profile of Karnataka, if you look into, as already we have discussed this, let's go to the next slide, sir. Drought, more than 50% of the landmass in Karnataka is prone to the drought. So we are seeing a drought-like situation during the summer, where there is a scarcity, acute scarcity of water. And sometime, luckily, we have not felt such a severe impact. And please do remember, Karnataka stands next to the Rajasthan when it comes to the total area under semi-arid and arid zones. So under the drought vulnerability, we stand second in our country, but our preparedness for drought is not that much. We need to be prepared for that. Next slide, sir. Yeah, floods vulnerability. The coastal district definitely are prone for the flooding, and during the rainy season, we can see the heavy discharge or probably the flooding in the south interior part of Karnataka as well. And North Karnataka, we can see the flooding every year in North Karnataka due to the reason that the water being released from the dams from the Maharashtra side. If it's raining very heavily from the Maharashtra side, we can see the flooding in Karnataka. The most of the northern district in Karnataka will be flooding due to the rain, the heavy rains or releasing of water from the Maharashtra side. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Wind and cyclone hazard. Yes, cyclone hazard, the coastal districts are prone for it, and even the wind hazard also, we need to be prepared for this. So what kind of preparation should be there? Probably in the coming slides, I will be informing you about the kind of preparedness we need to have. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Earthquake hazard, as I already mentioned, that the Mangalore, Dakshin Kannada district and Udupi and the coastal districts comes under the zone 3. There is a probability of earthquake up to 6.9 in the Richter scale. So let us be prepared for earthquake also. Go to the next slide. So landslide vulnerability is there, particularly the Western Ghats connecting to the DK district. It is very highly prone for the landslide. And as you know that most of the major train, the railways that goes through the Ghat section, particularly as you know the Konkan railway. So if you remember that there was a landslide reported in Uttar Kannada district way back in 2011 and 12, and this is a picture from Uttar Kannada again. And this landslide happened just a few hours before the train was supposed to pass through the tracks. So it could have caused a major disaster if nobody noticed it. Luckily, it was noticed and the train was stopped and probably the disaster was averted. Next slide. The coastal erosion vulnerability, the Karnataka is having more than 300 kilometers of coastline, and we can see the coastal erosion, particularly in the DK district. We can see in Ullad, the coastal erosion is very high, the sea erosion during the monsoon. Next slide, sir. Now, the government of India has considered the coastal erosion as the national disaster, and definitely the measures are taken for such national disasters. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Okay, we have various tools also for the disaster response in the Red Cross. Probably the volunteers can undergo the training, as well as volunteers can be the part of the disaster response team, which will be sent to the other district, other states, and sometimes we have responded to other countries also. I was working in the Nepal earthquake relief operation. Our team from India was sent for Nepal earthquake relief operation. Even during Bangladesh floods way back in 2011, so our team was working there. The Indian Red Cross Society has sent a team there of trained or experts for such response. Next slide. Coming to the various capacities, we can involve the trained volunteers for support search and rescue operations during any kind of a disaster, like a building collapse or a fire, or for example, a natural disasters, or for example, presently what we are facing, COVID-19 is a new disaster. Definitely it's a pandemic. Our volunteers also need to be protected when they are on the field. Trained volunteers can be deployed. Search and rescue. Search and rescue is one of the major things which requires a lot of manpower. Next slide. Okay, these are the pictures. Hold on for a moment, sir. These are the pictures I'm showing you. You can see the volunteers in the Red Cross jacket. They are not professionals in the search and rescue. They are all university students from the Kashmir University. During Kashmir flood relief operation, they have been a part of the relief operation. So these picture, the reason why I'm showing you is the Youth Red Cross volunteers can be a part of the disaster response operation during a major disaster, supporting the district administration. And these are the pictures where you can see the Youth Red Cross volunteers providing the search and rescue, or probably a kind of a relief to the affected families. Next slide, sir. We have a national level disaster management training center at Delhi, which provides a training, as well as it will be monitoring the situation, and it provides a database also, and as well it will be issuing alerts and deployment process from DMC at the national headquarters Delhi. When you happen to visit to Delhi next time, please do visit the Indian Red Cross Society national headquarters. It is located near the Parliament only, next to the Parliament only. In the next to Central Secretariat. So please do visit our training centers also, do visit our warehouses also. You understand, like that will make you sensitized regarding the capabilities the Red Cross is having in disaster response. Let's go to the next slide, sir. We have a MDU, it's called as a mobile disaster unit. As I was telling, when volunteers are sent to the field, they will not be sent like directly, they will be sent with a kind of a support. So the support they will be taking is MDU, and it will be having a lot of equipments inside it. And MDU means the full MDU, it requires almost 18 trucks to shift full MDU, mobile disaster unit. Part of the MDU will be sent during a disaster. Red Cross volunteers Youth Red Cross volunteers can undergo the training. Even we do the training on tent pitching activities, communication equipments, how to use the rescue from the rope, the pellicular training whenever we conducted in the past, the tent pitching activity, the other activity related to the disaster also, the disaster response was done there. So you can be a part of such activity, and definitely that will impart you a lot of skills which is not part of your curriculum. Most of the time we learn only thing which is there in the curriculum, but during emergency, whatever we have learned in the curriculum may not be of any use. During emergency, the life-saving skills which you learn through the Red Cross or Youth Red Cross unit at your university may be of a great help to save a person. Next slide. So providing first aid to the injured is the kind of support which we can provide during emergencies. As you know, that road accident is nowadays it's very common, and the most of the people in our country, as you know, that more than 160,000 people die every year due to the road accident. The number of death which is reported in our country so far, it is far lesser than the number of death which happens due to the road accident. But no one is bothered about road accident. We are bothered about the COVID-19. So the type of response we are doing for COVID-19, the same type of response if we start doing for road safety and road accident, definitely we can bring down the number of death. And as a youth Red Cross volunteers, most of the college students may be using a two-wheelers or a four-wheeler, and we need to sensitize them regarding road safety. Next slide, sir. Providing first aid is a very important aspect, as I mentioned, in any emergency. Next slide, sir. Then, okay, so you can see again, it's one of the picture from Uttarakhand Relief Operation 2013. You can see the volunteers or the youth we have wearing a Red Cross backpack bag. So that's our advanced first aid kit which they are having. So they are all youth Red Cross volunteers and the college student. So there was a major road breach there in the particularly Pithoragarh district connecting to Darchula. Darchula is a place where the Kailas Manas Sarovar Yatra starts, and there were many pilgrims who were trapped, and our volunteers are reaching there to rescue them and to save them and to support with the district administration there with the relief efforts. Next slide, sir. We have a national level team. We call it as NDRT, National Disaster Response Team. This team will be comprising of youth Red Cross volunteers and volunteers from other sectors and the professionals. And we provide them a specialized training at Central Training Institute, Delhi for 7 days. And they will be recruited, and recruited means it's a voluntary service, and they will be deployed during emergencies. So I'm a part of a National Disaster Response Team, and I'm also the master trainer for the NDRT, National Disaster Response Team. You also, the youth Red Cross volunteers who have undergone trainings in the past or who have interest to serve the society in such emergencies can be the part of the NDRT also, National Disaster Response Team. Next slides, please. Then we have state level teams also, the State Disaster Response Team. Next slide. We have district level teams also. We have regional warehouses where we stock the large quantity of the disaster preparedness material. The nearest warehouse which we have in Tamil Nadu is in Arkonam, and we have one more warehouse in Maharashtra, that's in Vikhroli. Karnataka is not considered to be a disaster prone state. That's why we don't have a warehousing system here in Karnataka. But otherwise, probably we have to start doing that. Otherwise, we have a warehouse which stores a large quantity of material. So as per my knowledge, this is the only organization in the country which stores large quantity of disaster preparedness material to respond to any situation. Next slide, sir. This is about the warehouses which we have. Next slide, sir. Yeah, yes, actually during the Kerala flood, if you remember, Kerala flood, again our team was working and I was leading the team in the Kerala flood relief operation, and actually the Air Force has provided us with helicopters to reach to those areas which was unreachable but through the road. So relief materials distribution is one of the key activity of the disaster relief activity of Red Cross. So you also can be a part of it. Next slide, sir. These are the pictures not from India. One picture is not from India. The other picture is from India. Next slide, sir. Yes, this is what is a very important part which you need to remember. It's called DHRU, DHRU, and Disaster Health Response Unit is nothing but a hospital which we can construct within 48 hours after a major disaster. For example, after a major disaster, if the infrastructure is damaged, if the hospital is damaged due to an earthquake or flooding or due to bomb blast, so we are capable of constructing a temporary hospital within 48 hours. During recent COVID also, we have expressed our interest to the Government of India and the Health Minister, who is the chairman of Red Cross at the national level, that we are capable of constructing the hospital. As you know, there was a lack of bed, lack of proper facilities in the hospital for treating COVID-19 cases. So we have expressed our interest to construct such health response unit, probably a field hospital we call it as, in various areas, but the government of India has asked us to be on standby. They said they have sufficient infrastructure. They asked us to be on standby, but we are on standby. We have kept our probably the unit ready to be deployed and to be installed wherever it is required. Next part. Next part. Providing food and water, as you know, it's one of the key activity that we can do during a disaster. Next slide. Next slide. We have water treatment unit. As do you know, if there is an epidemic outbreak due to cholera, or if there is a contaminated water supply due to the flooding, so we need large quantities of the water treatment unit. Next slide, sir. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So providing pure drinking water is a very important issue during disasters. Next slide. These are the pictures from the Orissa flood. The one picture on your left side. Go to the next slide, sir. Next slide. We have such water treatment unit, and these are the wonderful units which can convert a contaminated unit, contaminated water into a potable water, means to say a drinking water within a few hours. And this machine is having a capacity to treat more than 8,000 liters of water. And this machine will be deployed with trained volunteers. And we have a large fleet of such machines in the Red Cross, which will be sent if there is an epidemic outbreak due to cholera or contaminated water supply, or if there is a shortage of water, or if there is lack of water supply. So we do that kind of service also. Next part. Yeah, these are the various units which we are having in Red Cross. These are all donated by foreign national societies or the International Red Cross. Next slide, sir. Next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide. As you know, the water is one of the important issue there in case of any emergencies. Next slide. So we do provide such kind of services. You also can be a part of such services. Next slide, sir. Next slide. We'll go to the next slide again. Yeah, you can be a part of relief distribution. Recently during COVID, if you remember, like COVID is not only a health pandemic, it also created economic disaster in our country, where the people didn't had a livelihood support, the people didn't had a work, and there is no source of income for them, and most of the people were having a shortage of food and water. So the Red Cross has provided large probably quantities of the food grains to the needy families across the Karnataka state, including the Mangalore district. So probably with the support of the labor department, we could able to reach the laborers and migrant laborers particularly, to provide them with the food, water and other essential items. And we supported in most of the, what I can say, the camps or the tents, or where these migrant laborers were residing, we could able to support in many districts as well. So relief material is one of the important activity where volunteer support is needed, and Youth Red Cross volunteers can undergo the training regarding this and can be a part of this. Next slide, sir. Yeah, we train even on emergency shelters. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. Last year during the Karnataka flooding activity, so we supported them with one of the core activity of probably the emergency shelter. Tracing, there are people who are lost. I don't know how many of you know about this recent, the 3 months or 4 months, the details what happened in India after the lockdown. During the lockdown, many people probably walked almost 200 to 300 kilometers to reach to their villages, and some people have taken various transport measures to reach to their villages after the lockdown. And during that time, there were many people who were lost. During any disaster, there are people who will be lost, who go missing, and we have a separate unit for tracing, and we train our volunteers also to how to conduct a tracing during a disaster. Next slide, sir. And we have activity called Restoring the Family Link, and there are many successful stories regarding restoring the family link or restoring the people who have lost from their family due to a disaster. So there are many stories, many what I can say, there are many incidents in the past where the Red Cross has helped to relocate the people who have been internally displaced. Next slide. Yeah. Yes. Next slide. Yes, this is a very important activity which is need of the hour, I can say now, is providing a psychosocial support or a counseling. So during any disaster, the people don't need a relief material, don't may not be requiring a food and water only. They may be requiring a kind of a support, emotional support, a kind of a psychosocial support is required. Even in the COVID time now, there are people who are in quarantine. There are people who have been in the quarantine for more than 14 or 15 center in the quarantine centers. So they need a support, a psychosocial support. And most of the death that is reported due to COVID-19, it's not due to the disease, it's due to the worries, the tension, and probably the fear which they have towards the disease probably made them to die with other underlying conditions also. So the need of the hour is counseling or psychosocial support. We have a specific training module on PSP, psychosocial care during a disaster. Probably we can do that at the college level, university level also. And I do advise, if you are a professional or if you are a student from the BSW or MSW background, please be a part of, please express your interest to the district administration that you can be a part of counseling in the COVID care center. There is a huge demand for the counselors at the COVID care center, where many people who have been tested positive, asymptomatic, are undergoing the treatment in COVID care centers. It's not a treatment they are undergoing, they are undergoing a care. So in these care centers, there is a huge demand for need for the counselors. And what I can suggest you is, if you have undergone trainings in the past, you can express your interest to the Red Cross. Probably Red Cross will share that information to the district administration as well for providing counseling to the needy people. Next slide, sir. Yeah. So blood donation is one of the core activity of Red Cross, and most of the people recognize Red Cross by blood donation only. But blood donation is not the only activity of Red Cross. As I mentioned, we have wartime activity and peacetime activity as well. During peacetime, we do 4 core activities, that is healthcare, disaster response, first aid, and disaster preparedness. And blood donation is one of the activity under the healthcare. So now there is a need for blood donation. Why? 2 reasons. One, the colleges, educational institutions have closed. So there is no source where the blood banks can get the blood from. And there is a huge demand for the blood for various people who are undergoing surgeries, for various people who are undergoing treatment for various illness. And now, as you know, the plasma therapy, those people who have recovered from the COVID, so they can donate their plasma, which can be used as a medicine for the COVID-19. So you can do the counseling to the people who have recovered from COVID-19 to come forward and donate the blood, the particularly plasma, that can be used as a medicine for other people. So blood donation is one of the core activity. You can conduct regular blood donation camps at your university, or at the time of emergencies. When, if there is a building collapse where there is a large number of injured people, if there is a bomb blast where there is a large number of injured people, if there is a terrorist attack which requires hundreds and thousands units of blood. If you remember, during a terrorist attack way back in 2008 in Mumbai, there was a need of 18,000 blood units. But the blood bank will not be storing such a large quantity of blood. And the students from various universities in the college who came forward to donate the blood for during Mumbai terrorist attack. So blood donation is one of the noble activity, a life-saving activity, which you also can be a part of. Next slide, sir. Dead body management, why these slides actually I have put intentionally because nowadays there is a need for the volunteer support for the dead body management. These are the pictures from the Chennai floods, where our team was helping to evacuate a dead body, and probably later we cremated that dead body also. But now the COVID-19, as you know the situation, the dead body will not be handed over to the family. And there was a request from the district administration to provide volunteers from Red Cross for the dead body management. When we appealed to our volunteers, none of us volunteers responded to come forward for the dead body management. So there is a myth among the people regarding dead body management. And please do remember, even in COVID-19, the person who dies due to COVID-19, once the body is covered with a dead body bag, there is no chance that there is no chance coming in contact with the virus, because virus will be there inside the lungs, which can come out through droplets whenever a person sneezes or coughs. So if some volunteers are a part of a dead body management, there is no way that it can transmit the infection. There is a myth among the community. Clarify that myth. And if you volunteer, if you are interested to be the volunteer in dead body management, express your interest to the district administration, and you can call the control room and you can express your interest, and definitely they will provide you the PPE kit and other things, whatever required for the personal safety, and they do the probably you can involve in that. Next slide, sir. Yeah. Prevention of spread of information. This is very important core activity which we need to, the Youth Red Cross volunteers need to do now. So wherever you are, now colleges is about to start probably in the month of September or October. But till that time, try to do the education, sensitization, or orientation to the family members and the neighbors or whoever you are in contact with regarding prevention of the COVID-19. So prevention of COVID-19, you need to remember the ABCD part of it. So this is not an actually orientation for the COVID-19, but I am taking this opportunity to sensitize you basically about the COVID-19 on the prevention aspect. What you need to know is the education, the public education and hygiene promotion is very important to prevent any epidemic. So what you need to remember ABCD. A stands for avoid touching. Educate this to the other members, the family members. Avoid touching face or nose unnecessarily. I'm sure most of you know about this because we have been bombarded with the information related to COVID-19. B, be sure of cleaning your hands, washing your hands with the soap or with a hand sanitizer frequently. C, cover your face with the inner part of the elbow when you are sneezing or coughing. And D, don't go to marketplace, don't go to crowded area, don't go to workplace if you are sick. If you are sick, stay at home. Remember the ABCD, just sensitize ABCD to the people and try to make sure that everyone is wearing mask, everyone is following the social physical distancing. And whenever you see some people crowding in a shop or office or near a ATM, try to educate them to follow the social distancing. Let's go to the next slide, sir. Then, okay, next slide. So these are the various, this is one example from Udupi. Even in Dakshin Kannada district also, there is a disaster response team, district disaster response team, which you also can be a part of. Next slide, sir. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, next slide, sir, next slide. So these are the pictures of the various trainings. You can see the pictures. It's not only a classroom training. We do provide a training on casualty handling, lifting, shifting, providing first aid, rescue. So many things are there. When it comes to rescue, as you know, water rescue, rescue from height, and the land rescue, these are the three important components. Probably coastal district, what is required is a water rescue, and probably the other land rescue part. So definitely, probably in future, we train our volunteers, interested volunteers on such issues. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is very important, proper method of handling, shifting the, this is one example we are just quoting here, like most of the road accident, if you know that the person, the injured person will be shifted in a wrong method, and there is no proper method they adopt, and that might result into a spinal injury as well, and it may cause permanent disability to the person, the injured person. Next slide. So yeah, this is one of the training which I was giving a training to anti-Naxal police force. This is just to show you what are the various field activity which we do in the trainings. Next slide, sir. Next slide. Okay. Before I conclude, let me just sensitize you regarding what activities that can be conducted at the Youth Red Cross unit. The NITE University has been very active in conducting various activities, and NITE University is a very well-known university across the country, and NITE University has been doing excellent work related to the field of academics and as well as even the co-curricular activities. So when it comes to the Youth Red Cross unit, you can plan. Now a semester system is there, so you can plan for a semester. First, basically, you need to prepare a committee of hardcore volunteers comprising minimum 100 members. Minimum 50 is also fine, 100 is okay. So 100 members, a committee need to be formed, and committee need to have office bearers, and you can plan the calendar of events for the whole year, and basically focus on the areas which is the district is prone for example health issues or related to disaster or related to any other. But all the volunteers and the students should undergo the training regarding the first aid. That's an important activity that can be done at the university level, because we do not impart this skill as a part of a curriculum. So we need to learn this through the Red Cross. Then important days can be observed, like for example World Health Day or Red Cross Day or Geneva Convention Day. There are World AIDS Prevention Day. So there are important days. On these days we can conduct awareness activity for other students in the college or the university. So then the main activity related to service, we can reach out, we can call it as community outreach activity, where we can be a part of hygiene, or we can be a part of sanitation, means sanitation measures, to follow the sanitation measures. And there are various activities that can be conducted under the hygiene promotion activity. So I can send you the list of activities that can be planned for a year, and that can be implemented at the university and the college level when it comes to the Youth Red Cross unit. And if you have any questions now, definitely I'll be happy to take the questions. And if you want to share anything related to the activity that was held in the past in your university or in your college, you can share that. And if you want to ask any question, definitely please do ask now.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very insightful speech. So we do have some questions for you. The first thing which many volunteers have asked is, what do they get to do being part of this Red Cross unit? Most of it you have covered already, but I guess if you want to answer precisely, again,
exactly. As I mentioned, any volunteer to providing any voluntary service, you can be part of, you are already part of a Youth Red Cross unit at your college, at your university. So you can be a part of a social activities or awareness activity or service activity whenever probably a situation demands such kind of activity. Presently, as you know, the COVID-19 is there. You can be a part of a district administration and district Red Cross in probably in implementing these activities. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. It is very good to hear from a master trainer, and that to an international level. It's a very nice speech, sir. We got to learn a lot of things, and it's definitely motivating every one of us, not just the students, but also us. Saying this, I would like Lata madam to take over. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very respected dignitaries of YRC induction program. And it's my privilege to thank each and everyone who have contributed to the success of this YRC webinar. First and foremost, with great pleasure, I express my utmost gratefulness to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bhandari, who is the backbone of all our endeavors in NITE University. He has been a great source of support and inspiration for all the YRC activities. I express an utmost gratefulness to you, sir, on behalf of Youth Red Cross Unit. We are extremely thankful to our chief guest of today's induction program, C.A. Shantaram Shetty, the chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, DK District Zone. Sir, we are grateful that you took out your time to be a part of this auspicious occasion, and you have inspired our young volunteers through your message. So thank you so much on behalf of Youth Red Cross Unit. I owe my respect and gratitude to the guest of honor and the resource person, Dr. Kumar VLS, the Vice Chairman of Indian Red Cross Society, Karnataka State Branch, who has readily agreed to share his thoughts, experiences, and knowledge to inspire our young volunteers. Sir, we promise you that we shall carry forward your ideas in future course of activities of Youth Red Cross unit of NITI deemed to be university. We profoundly thank you on behalf of NITI deemed to be university. I opportunity to thank all the faculty members, the guests, and the invited guests who have spared their valuable time to be with us today. And great acknowledgement are due to all my student volunteers who are the main source of our support, and we look forward your active participation. I wish all the very best for all the students on this occasion. Thank you, one and all.